Today we're going to be doing a bit of a growth update video. Essentially, I wanted to go through all of the plants that I added to my collection in 2025 that I still have. I did go on a bit of a binge in 2025 and I got a whole bunch of plants, and not all of them are still with us. Some I have rehoned because they were my vibe. Some didn't end up working out. We're not going to talk about that. Today we are just going over the ones that I still have, still am excited about in my collection. So we can go over what they were looking like back when I got them up to 12 months ago, and how they are doing today, what the sort of condition they are in, and just general sort of updates on them. Before I get into that though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. Now let's get into these growth updates. The first ones are actually some begonias that I got 12 months ago, so February last year. So the first one, the one that I got the order for originally, was the Begonia bipinnatifida, because I just thought it's such a cool begonia and I was so excited to get it into my collection, and so far, so good. She is a little bit of a humidity lover. I've basically had it in my pond box for the entire time I've had it, which has been high, pretty much 100% humidity in semi-hydro, constantly having access to water. It's got grow lights on top of it, and it's done super well in that. It has, you can see, grown quite a bit. That being said, it has outgrown the box now, and I am currently trying to acclimate it to normal home conditions, and so she is looking a wee bit crusty around the edges. Like, there's definitely some drier spots in there. I have lost some leaves, and I just need to figure out where I can put this that it'll fit. I think potentially popping it into the Mills bow might be an option, because that's like ever so slightly higher humidity than my sort of normal home conditions. But yeah, basically I didn't want it to go from 100% humidity to 50 in a second if I just took it out. So I have been slowly opening the box a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more to get it to the point where it is now. And I'll probably have to pot this into a new self-watering pot when I do switch it over properly. So it might be a bit of an adjustment. Begonias in general I found are not like fantastic with adjustments. We can talk about that a little bit more with some I got later on. But it's just, I'm just hoping that I don't like do something too quickly and have it freak out. That being said, I could probably take a cutting from this one and put that cutting into my Mills bow or something straight off the bat. That might actually be a good shout. Take a safety cutting and prop that in the Mills bow so it's in those conditions to start before I move it, because I found that when I move begonias, sometimes they just like completely freak out and throw a fit, and I don't necessarily want that to happen to mine, but it might. Also in that order a year ago was the Begonia Sophie Cecile. I thought this one was absolutely gorgeous. I had a couple leaf cutting and it had quite big leaves on it. They were really, really nice. And since then, it doesn't look like it's done a whole lot, but caveat, one, it's had thrips during this past year. I think this was one of the leaves that had thrips. You can see the sort of damage in there. It was looking a little bit rough for a minute. And two, I've grown it in a myriad of different conditions. I've grown it outside of a cabinet, I've grown it inside a cabinet, and it did get quite big. It was in semi-hydro for quite a long time until very recently. I have chopped it and I'm starting over from propagations. And now I have 3 cuttings in here instead of the one that I began with, which branched out into 3 branches. So I will hopefully be able to start with a bit of a fuller plant. And the leaf size didn't get too as big as it was when I originally got it, and they're also not quite as dark. Don't know if that's because I'm putting it in too much light, because I feel like darker black plants like darker environments in order to get darker leaves. So maybe I need to put it into somewhere that's not quite as bright in order to maintain that darkness. But it's a weird balance because I also want the leaves to size up. So I'm not sure. If you have any experience with the Sophie Cecile, I definitely love to hear it and hear how I could potentially do better with it. though I am really happy with it. I'm not mad about having to restart it. I'm not worried about that at all. And then the last actually kind of set of begonias, because I got two and I wanted to pot them together, is the Begonia Don Miller and the Maurice Amy. And these are actually brother sister plants. They're from the same parentage in terms of hybridization, but they have come out slightly differently. The Maurice Amy is a pink, whereas the Don Miller is a silver. And holy cow, look at the size. This one has grown over the course of the year. I have chopped and propped it loads and re-put it into the bottom. Semi-hydro's been fantastic for it. The Maurice Amy have not had as much luck with, unfortunately. It's just not been as easy for me. I don't understand why, because they have similar parentage. Maybe it's just not as strong of a hybrid, but I do really like it. I'm hoping eventually to be able to take cuttings and kind of mix it in more, because I do want this to be a full proper mixed pot. That was kind of the goal in putting them together, is to really fully mix it. And I mean, I'm not mad at just a full silver plant. I think the Don Miller is doing fantastic in here, so I'm not mad at it, but it is definitely, it wasn't the initial plan to be this thick with one and not the other. I was kind of hoping for more of a mixed pot situation, but you know, it's still growing well and I'm really happy with it, and it's just loving the semi-hydro life. In April was when I did my first proper haul of the year, and I did that with Downtown Plant Club. And the plant that I put the order in for was the variegated banana plant. It was a wish list plant for me, and I am so glad that I was able to add it to my collection. It wasn't a huge plant when I got it. It's also not a huge plant now. I think I've struggled with this one a little bit in terms of getting it the right spot, because I had it in my Millsbell cabinet until very recently. It was in there getting higher humidity, but I don't think the light was necessarily enough for it. I have since moved it out of the cabinet into a brighter spot, but I think it's suffering a little bit on the humidity front. At first I thought this was pest damage, but having had a look at it, I literally don't see any pests on it, and so I just have to assume it's some sort of watering issue. I suppose I could have a look at the roots, though they do look, oh my gosh, they look so nice. Look at those. So it is happy in here, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Maybe it's just not liking that adjustment I've just given it. I feel like that's not a common theme, but it is in a new situation, and me figuring out how to water it in that new situation is going to take a little bit of time. And so maybe I could even put it into semi-hydro. I feel like it would like semi-hydro. It could be a vibe, because I feel like banana plants are thirstier than people give them credit for, especially when they're in the high light that they sort of love. So maybe, I don't know. I also got a couple of Alocasias in that order, the first of which was the Alocasia Black Magic, which, I mean, you could tell why I got it. It's this gorgeous little black gothy Alocasia. I'm here for it, obviously. And over the last 10 months, it's not done poorly for me, but it's not done amazingly. You can kind of see it has gotten very leggy, while the leaf size hasn't gone up too much. I'm still absolutely obsessed with this dark black foliage. I am here for it. I absolutely love it. But just something isn't quite right with it. And again, I think it might be a light situation, because the lights I have in my Millsbell are not bright enough. You'll see a theme. Anything that I've had in my cabinet, it's probably gotten a little bit leggy because the lights in there just aren't what they need to be. It's something that I do need to actively change going forward. So I'm gonna do that at some point, maybe. I do still really like it, and the fact that it hasn't died back to nothing is good, right? I feel like that's good enough. Like all my Alocasias, I've put it into semi-hydro, and I originally had it in a self-watering pot. I now have it in no drainage, and it seems to absolutely love that. In terms of watering, I've not really had any issues with it cycling hugely. Obviously it's only got 3 leaves, so it has cycled a bit, but it's not like a 1 leaf club kind of Alocasia like I have had previously. So Maybe once I get a slightly brighter light in the cabinet, it can have a better spot. But again, we're dealing with the like dark black plants. Do they want bright light? Apparently. The other Alocasia in that order was the Alocasia odora Batik, and that one has done fairly well for me. I have since potted it in with the Macrorrhiza variegated that I have, and I'm gonna be entirely honest with you here. One, this plant doesn't look fantastic like this, but I don't know which is which. I don't know if the odora is the tall one or if the odora is the short one, but this is the leaf of one of them, and this is the leaf of the other one. I feel like they're almost exactly the same shape, and the variegation is so similar that I'm really unsure which is which. I kind of have a feeling it's the tall one. I will have a look back at the stems because the stems are different between the two. But either way, they're doing fine. Of course, it's been in my cabinet. It's gotten a bit leggy, but it is otherwise a very happy camper and is just doing its thing. I still want to get it to size up at some point, regardless of which one it is, but I'm very happy with this one together in this pot because they look so similar. I think they're quite cute together. In May, so 9 months ago, I got several plants from the Malvern Spring Festival, and that's actually where I got my first pinguicula, the Pinguicula Tina, this gorgeous thing, and I love how it had a flower on it to begin with. Now, 9 months in, this has actually been my best performing ping. I did get several other pings in 2025, but I am gonna talk about them in a separate video. I kind of want to do a whole ping refresh video, and so I can talk about them more then. Let me know if that's something that you want to see. But the one that started it all was the Pinguicula Tina, and so far it has done really, really well for me. This is actually my only ping that has bloomed. Exciting. And I was actually able to divide it out as well. Pings sort of multiply, they just turn into multiples suddenly, and you can kind of see it here. I've got one centered one here and then the center of another one there, so I could go through and divide this out again, but I have divided it out once already, and it's just been going for it pretty well actually, and it's been loving life. My pings are some that I need to find a proper space for in our new home layout. And so I haven't fully gotten it a place yet, but as soon as I figure it out, I'll make sure that it's getting bright light. I was a little bit nervous to get this one at the start because like I heard they needed like rainwater, distilled water, filtered water, but I got one of those water filter pitchers and that's been absolutely fine for this one, and I've just been making sure it stays pretty regularly moist, and it's been perfectly happy with that. I'd say one of my most successful plants that I got in 2025 was my Euphorbia lactee dragon bone. Again, I got it in May at Malvern, and it was a cute little guy, but holy cow, look at it now. It has literally doubled in size in the last 9 months, and it is doing so well. I've basically had it under a Grow Gang bulb for the past 9 months, and it's been so happy with that. That is a very, very bright grow light, and it has allowed it to literally double in size since I've had it. And so I am just so proud of this one. I think it is so cool. I'm surprised at how quick it grows. I wasn't expecting it to do like this much in that short span of time, but it has, and I am very, very happy about it. And then the last plant I still have from that haul is my Alocasia Antoro Velvet, and it was looking so good when I originally got it. This was a wishlist plant for me, and I was so glad I was able to get one. Since then, it has definitely lived up to its finicky name. It is not the happiest camper in the world. Again, you can see it is a leggy one. I think it is to do with the light situation again, but I've also not really found the right environment for it. I've tried it in cabinets, I've tried it out of cabinets, I've tried it under lower light, brighter light, all kinds of different things, and I've just not really found the perfect solution for it yet in my home. That being said, it is putting out a new leaf right now. So stinking cute, and I am still obsessed with these sort of fuzzy backed leaves. I don't know. I mean, they're fuzzy front as well. They're basically velvety. So it is a really cool one. It is a great addition to a black plant collection, but fair warning, if you are going to get one, they are not the easiest Alocasia, and in general, I'm fairly good at Alocasia. So if you are at all worried about your Alocasia abilities, this one might not be the best one to start on, but I'm not mad that I've added it to my collection for sure. In June, I went to Gardener's World Live, and I didn't get a huge amount from that show, but I did end up getting some pings and Drosera. The Drosera didn't live, unfortunately. The pings, like I said, I will talk about in the future. But other than those, I do still have one plant from that haul, and it is the Alocasia Batwing. And oh my goodness, I am still obsessed with this plant. I think it is such a cool shape of leaf. Now, she has sized up quite a decent chunk. Like, oh my goodness. Basically, it's been living in my Millsbow. Again, I don't need to say it again, not getting enough light, and that's why it is a little bit leggy. But in general, these sort of zebra stemmed Alocasias, they are a longer stem. They're not a jewel Alocasia, and so they don't stay as squat as others. Mine just end up getting really, really tall and leggy, unfortunately. I don't mind too much, but I am just aware that it doesn't necessarily look its very best. That being said, the leaves on it have sized up significantly in this time, and I am really proud of it and really happy with it. I think it is a beautiful plant, and like, I really can't complain because it is just such a fun, cool one. Like, tell me that's not one of the coolest leaves. It is just so fun and different, and I don't have any other Alocasia that are quite this shape. And so it is a good time. I'm very happy with it. And aside from the slight legginess, we love her. In August, Soil Ninja announced their collaboration on selling cool, rare, unusual houseplants with Oso Floral. And for that announcement, they sent me and a bunch of other influencer, content creator people's plants to show off to all of you. And they sent me this variegated fiddle leaf fig, which one, kind of scary because I have never had a fiddle leaf fig before in my life, and I've heard they're a little bit finicky. And also, a variegated version adds a little bit of extra spice to that. But I was so excited about this plant and excited to give it a go and test out my skills. And so far, so good. We are doing well at this point. She is a happy camper in here, giving me 2 new leaves, both this one and this one, in the time that I have had it, which is great. I feel like that is the sign of success. It is also very much so gone upwards, but I have heard that is a sign that it is getting enough light, which is good. We like that. I think part of the success I've had with this one is due to the Willow plant sensor. This video is not sponsored by them, but I am an affiliate and I do freaking love their smart plant sensors. But this thing has basically told me when this plant is thirsty and when it is time to water based off of the information that it has in its database about fiddle leaf figs specifically and their water needs. So it has been quite nice to not have to stress about this plant, especially since it's one that I am not familiar with and I've never had before. And so it's new to me and I'm not really 100% with its care, but it has been sitting underneath the Grow Gang bulb as well. Absolutely loved it. And like I said, put out new leaves and I couldn't be happier with how it's doing, considering never had one, never even thought about having one until 2025. In September, I treated myself to a Philodendron ilsamanii. Planting actually convinced me that I needed to have one, and so I found a cutting on eBay. It was a rooted mid-cut with a decent sized leaf that I was very happy to add to my collection. And since then, it has actually grown quite well for me. I was worried because these are notoriously difficult to root, and so I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to be able to root it. It has rooted phenomenally. I have recently repotted it. You can still see the sort of roots in there looking really nice. And it put out new growth actually fairly quickly as well, which is awesome. This was the first leaf it gave me, the next leaf, and it is currently putting out another new leaf at the minute. You can see it comes in like a bright pink color, which y'all know I don't necessarily like pink plants, but it's still really fun. I like that they fade to this sort of creamy white. If it was staying pink constantly, maybe it wouldn't be my thing, but because it does fade, that is like it's more acceptable in my home, I guess. But I've recently popped it onto this moss pole, so I'm hoping I can get it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look. So that root is coming from there. And look how nice that root is in there. You can see how fuzzy it is. That is incredibly exciting. Basically, if you want your Ilsmonii to size up, you kind of got to put it on a pole, which I don't mind. I like having moss poles in my collection, so it's not a problem. I've got it on a nice front opening one, so it'll be easy to shift if I do need to like upsize it in the future. But holy cow, I wasn't expecting it to have rooted so quickly, because I feel like I only repotted it on here like a week ago when I'm filming this. Crazy. So very exciting, very happy with this one. It has just been a joy to watch grow, and like, I don't know. I hope they do get cheaper. I really, really do hope they do get cheaper, because I would love more people to have these, because they are really, really cool plants. In October, I had another little plant binge, and I ended up getting myself several plants, one of which was again from the Soul Ninja Oso Floral collab, which I bought myself. It was the Queen of Hearts. Obviously, I had to add this to my Goth Black plants collection, and so far it has been living up to that. It hasn't lost either of the original 2 leaves down the bottom, and it has given me this new leaf, which isn't quite as large as the last one, and again, you can see it's a bit leggy. It lives in my Millsbow. We don't need to go over this again. We all know what's wrong there. Other than that, it has been perfectly happy. It does look like it's actually putting out another bit of new growth, which is super exciting. So hopefully, oh my god, 2. It's got a second growth point. It actually has 2 growth points in there, which is super exciting. I had no idea that was happening, so glad I pulled it out for this video. It's been a fairly easy Anthurium. I tend to find them a little bit more on the difficult side, but so far it's had absolutely no issues in my cabinet. I have it in soil, which is fun, in quite a large pot. I did size it up quite quickly, and so far I think it's been liking that. We're happy here, and I'm not mad that it's a little bit leggy. Hopefully these next couple leaves grow in really well too. And then I also got myself some Marantas again from Root Houseplants. They had some really cool ones on their website, and I just knew I needed them in my life. I hadn't had Marantas for a couple of years, and so it was nice to add them to my collection once again. And in general, they have been pretty happy for me. I've got the silver band down here as well, but these super chill. They have just been some of the easiest plants. Marantas in general are not difficult to take care of, which is great. And the sort of like more funky, uncommon ones are no different. I was originally planning to repop them into semi-hydro quite quickly, because they are a little bit on the thirstier side for plants. And eventually I'm going to combine them into a full big mixed pot. But I didn't think the roots were quite ready in the soil to change them over, so I have just decided to keep them in soil for now and to take cuttings, which I will root in water, that will eventually go into the semi-hydro mixed pot. They just aren't quite long enough yet to take proper cuttings of. I will just do it when they have a little bit more length to them, and I'm not like compromising the plant too much by taking those cuttings, if that makes sense. So for now, they're just gonna live in soil. They're loving life, being happy, chill plants, but eventually semi-hydro is the goal with them. And then my last haul of the year was the one where Claire picked out plants for me and I picked out plants for her from Grow Tropicals. If you haven't gone and watched that video, I highly recommend. It's quite fun. But the first one that we actually, funnily enough, both picked for each other was the Ardisia gigantifolia, and it was one that neither of us had ever seen before, but both really liked the look of. So far, I have not killed it. I've never heard of this plant before. I have yet to do the research on it, 4 months in. Sorry, I'm a bit behind there, but so far it's been living in the IKEA cabinet, and I think it has given me some new growth. Those like sort of small leaves are the newest bits of growth there, so it's not gone wrong thus far. I haven't killed it, which is great. I have just left it in the soil that it was in because I'm not exactly sure what the best substrate is. Like I said, I need to research it. That is entirely my bad, and maybe I'll do that right after this video because it needs to happen. But it's not like a common houseplant, and so I don't think there's that much information about it out there online in growing it as a houseplant. So it's not the easiest one to just like generally find information on. Maybe eventually, if I figure out the care of it, I can make a care video on them so other people can know. But it is a really cool one. So far, so good. I've not had it for very long, but it hasn't been unhappy in my care, which is kind of what is most important, right? I think. Claire also got me one of my wish list plants, the Begonia Darth Vaderiana green spot. Absolutely gorgeous. I am obsessed with how this plant looks. It is not doing its current best, but I am not worried about it. So this is what it is looking like today. And I have put it in my planted window because it is more of a terrarium begonia. It likes the higher humidity. And like I mentioned earlier, some begonias are not fans of any sort of big transitions or changes. The Darth Vaderiana included. It is known for being incredibly sensitive. Luckily, the green spot is a hybrid of it, and so it is ever so slightly more resilient than the sort of classic Vaderiana, but still, they don't like big moves. And obviously, from being transported to Claire's, being transported to mine, taken out of its potting mix and put into this, that is a big transition for it. And it decided it wanted to throw a fit and drop all of its leaves. But as you can see, I do have some new growth in there, and so I am not worried about it. I have full confidence that it will kind of bounce back, and it actually looks like there's 2 growth points in there now, which is really good. So maybe it will be a stronger plant in the end for it. I'm just gonna keep my fingers crossed. I think it'll be fine. And I'm still very happy I have it, even if it doesn't look like tip top right now. And then the final plant Claire got me, and the final plant of this video, was the Alocasia actua tigrina. Oh my goodness, I am obsessed with this one. It is such a cool plant. I've been admiring the tigrina over the course of 2025. I'd seen it in several places, and I just really loved it, but hadn't bitten the bullet and gotten it for myself. So I was so glad that Claire ended up getting it for me. And so far, so good with this one. It's kind of hard to compare because I was obviously standing up in that clip versus now, but it has been so chill. It has been incredibly chill. I haven't put it into any sort of special conditions. It's been changed to semi-hydro, which is what I do for all of my alocasias, and it's just been fine. And it's actually producing what looks like quite a large leaf in here, which I am very excited for because the large leaves on these are just so nice. It's kind of got an interesting coloration. It's a very matte leaf, but there's kind of different variances of the green in there, kind of like tiger stripes. Maybe that's why it's called tigrina. I'd never thought about that until right now. I thought it was the stems, but that's the zebrina. I don't know. Either way, it is doing pretty well for me, given I haven't really given it any special care. I just plunked it on my shelves, and it has been absolutely fine with that and like growing new leaves. So I really can't be upset, especially because it's only been a couple of months that I've had it in my collection, really. And it's been winter, so like, can I really expect it to do all that much? But at least it didn't throw a fit like the begonia did. So there we go. Those are all the plants that I got in 2025 that I still have in my collection, and what they are doing today. I'm honestly pretty proud of them. A couple things that I've learned while making notes for this video, as well as talking about these plants here now, is 1, my Millsbow cabinet lights are far too dim. They're not bright enough. I need to find something else for them because it is making my alocasias extremely leggy, and like my other plants as well. They're leggy. I know, and I need to do something about it. 2, begonias don't scare me as much as they used to, and the fact that I was totally fine with my Darth Vaderiana just like going kaput and trusting that it'll come back, I'm very proud of myself for. And then 3, which I kind of don't get into in this because this is the updates of the plants that I do still have, but when I was researching for this video, watching my old haul videos, there were definitely quite a few plants that I got during 2025 that I no longer have. And that's because I didn't end up liking them. And of course I was like trying to experiment and try new things. But I feel like at this point I should know myself a little bit better and accept that some specific types of plants aren't for me and I don't need to keep trying them just to keep giving them away again because I don't end up loving them or they don't grow well for me or whatever. And so I just need to cool it a little bit on buying plants. I think I am going to cool it in this year with buying plants, but I do still love all of the plants that I have here. They made it through the big purge I did last month. I love them. I love looking at them. I love watching them grow, and hopefully I am able to grow them even bigger going forward. So yeah. Maybe go look at the plants that you got last year and see how well they are doing. It's fun to have these sort of update videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!